Welcome to Austin Tech Connect, the official podcast of the Austin Technology Council. Presented to you by Netspend. Homegrown in Austin, Netspend has been a leading provider of consumer and business payment solutions for almost 25 years. From prepaid cards to mobile bank accounts to money movement services, Netspend connects people, brands, and payment products to deliver innovative financial solutions.
This is the Austin Tech Connect podcast, the podcast about the future of Austin's technology community. My name is Tom Singer, and I am the CEO at the Austin Technology Council. The Austin Technology Council has been around 30 years with the goal of bringing the Austin tech community together and helping our local companies grow and thrive. And every single week on this podcast, we interview local leaders to hear their stories of success and to get their vision of what is the future of Austin and how can we all thrive moving forward. And today, I am really excited to have with us Montse Fuentes, who is the president of St. Edward's University and a professor of mathematics at St. Ed's. Montse, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom. It's great being here.
Oh, I am so glad to have you here. And for those of you who don't know her, she has been the president at St. Edward's for the last 2 years, just celebrated her second anniversary. And her calling in life is to build community, which is what we look to do here at the Austin Technology Council. She works to bring people together using education to elevate those connections and to provide opportunities for everyone. So, Montse, let's go back in time. What was early in your career? Did you go straight into academia?
I had the opportunity of being recruited to continue my education at the University of Chicago, and it really was a sense of adventure. And a first-generation immigrant, first-generation college student, and the opportunity that was brought to me by the University of Chicago really inspired me to continue my education without having a really clear sense of where that was going to be able to take me. But what changed everything for me is being able to encounter mentors and people who believe in me before I was able to believe in myself. And through that education, so many doors opened to me that I never left education because I wanted to be in a position where I could do that for others, to give that gift of education to transform lives.
You bring up such an interesting point right out of the gate, and that is the power of mentorship. I'm a really big believer that the right mentor can change people's lives. So what advice do you have for young people on how to even find mentors, whether it's while they're in academia going through, their undergrad or their graduate work, or when they get into the business world? How did you find those mentors, and how do you advise others?
It's critical at every stage of our lives to have a social network of individuals who support you, who believe you, who challenge you, and you need them. You need to create that network before actually you need it. So it does require intentionality. And in some cases, for some could be uncomfortable to put yourself out there. But Austin in particular has so much to offer on that regard. All different venues to gather, to meet those individuals who would advocate for you later on. Certainly in education, that's what we do every day. We are mentors. But I do challenge the students to go out there in the community. And one of the main priorities for me is to facilitate those venues for our students because they are our future and they may not really appreciate quite yet how much they are going to need those mentors and that type of network. So I bring the opportunities for them. I either bring those individuals to campus to interact with the students, or I facilitate for the students to be in the community. And as I say, Austin is full of people who care about each other and full of opportunities to network and to meet others.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. When it comes to your social network, to mentors, I always use the expression, you have to dig your well before you're thirsty. Because if you wake up one day and need that connection to open a door, or you need that mentor to give you some career advice, you can't build the relationship in the first 5 minutes of the conversation. You have to be setting that all up in advance. Do you think in our world of social media and so many younger people spending so much time staring at their screens and communicating through text, do you think that is good, bad? Does it change how we connect with people? What are your thoughts?
I think that we need to leverage that. There is no question that there are great advantages of being able to connect that way. And I do that. I mentor a lot of people, and certainly being able to connect with individuals who are not sharing the same physical space facilitates that. but it's not really a complete replacement. There is something about developing those relationships in person, getting to know one another. So it does require, I think that we need to leverage technology. Certainly it facilitates that, but it also requires to be able to truly connect with others.
So let's continue to hear the journey of your story after the University of Chicago and your graduate work. Where did you go, and how did your career progress to become the president of a university? Where'd you go next?
My interest was being in the classroom, being with the students, being able to connect with them, getting that excitement about education, in particular my own background in math with statistics, that I really believe that is the most powerful tool to transform data into knowledge. Just getting excited. So that was my desire, but my own passion has always been on the environment. So I had the privilege of having the opportunity to go to different institutions. And I went to North Carolina, because at that point I was in North Carolina State as faculty member, but I was also working for the Environmental Protection Agency on research and standards for air pollution. And I have no desire to pursue any type of leadership role, because I had what I was hoping for, the opportunity to really prepare our future. But I started to get a sense of, in a way, responsibility at that time when I was offered opportunities to lead. At that point, it was the department. I saw the lack of representation, and I wanted to be in a position where I could advocate for those who tend to be underrepresented, in particular Hispanic community or women in sciences. So I started to take those as an opportunities to be leading with purpose. And from there, I started to get opportunities from the department head. I was a director of a research center that I was recruited as dean of the liberal arts and sciences, then as provost and vice president for academic affairs. And then is when I was recruited by St. Edward's to come and have the great gift and opportunity to lead this amazing institution here in Austin, the world-class city of Austin. So it really is a blessing. And I'm so incredibly grateful for those individuals who believe in me again, for the faith that they had in the promise of my leadership.
So it's interesting because my son-in-law, and by the time this airs, he'll actually be my son-in-law. The wedding is 3 days after we're recording this episode. He is a mathematician. And what I've learned from being close with him over the past 7 years is that, and by the way, they tried to get married 3 years ago during the pandemic, and they had 2 fully planned weddings get pushed off because of lockdowns. So we're really excited that this wedding is happening and that. But he is a mathematical genius. He's one of the smartest mathematicians of his generation. He went to the International Math Olympics as a high school student. He was a Putnam Fellow in college. And so being around a mathematician, one of the things I've learned is that mathematicians are at their soul problem solvers. So as you advanced into these leadership roles and then, coming to Austin to be the president at St. Edward's, how are you a problem solver and how do you take those math skills into your leadership?
They are truly integrated as part of everything that I am and everything that I do. And I also believe that there is need of that right now in our society and in our world. I came here because I saw the potential. I saw the potential of the institution. I saw the potential of the city of Austin. And with great intentionality, when I came here in the middle of the pandemic, a very challenging time, we came together as community to set a path for the future, a strategic plan to elevate the institution truly integrated within our community, and to make sure that higher education is not only about the experiences that we provide that truly transform your life, but also to ensure that those individuals, once they get their diploma or they are done with their studies, that their lives have been elevated. Not only their lives, but the lives of the members of their families, of the entire community. So I came here to really reach and work with the entire community of Austin to ensure that Austin is better because we are here, and to also ensure that our students are much better because they benefit from the access from this amazing city of Austin. So yes, I came here with that mentality of there is so much to do, setting a plan, and I work very hard every day to achieve that goal.
So let's talk about St. Edward's University. A lot of people, you're right there on, on Congress Avenue. A lot of people
on the hilltop, that's how we call it, the hilltop.
You're right there on the hilltop. And a lot of people don't know a lot about St. Ed's. Sometimes maybe we spend too much time paying attention to that big university up the road. So let's talk a little bit about the history of St. Ed's, how you got to where you are, and then your thoughts of the future for St. Ed's and tying it more into the Austin community and the Austin tech community.
So St. Edward's University has a very long and distinguished history. So we have been in Austin for 138 years. So we are part of the DNA of the city of Austin. I came here with that purpose of again being able, in particular in the middle of the pandemic, when we're trying to figure out things, to really use education to elevate those communities that tend to be left behind in many cases. Part of the mission of St. Ed's, for me being attracted to this place is because it's a values-based institution. We care about each other, and we want to make sure that the students, when they leave our university, they are leaving things in a better place. We prepare our students to be the ones that create change, that they are able to create a better tomorrow for all of us, to bring a more just, a more humane, a more sustainable world for all of us. So there is that desire of making a difference here at St. Ed's. So my commitment since I have arrived is to make sure we put that into action. And I don't take as a compliment if the city of Austin, they don't know who we are. So that's certainly on me, and I want to make sure we change that because we really need to work together. We have so much to offer. We have the talent. We have the future. The majority of our students are Latino students. They are from the community, and they want to go back to the community. And really, an education is what can facilitate that for them. We want to work with employers in the area to continue promoting lifelong learning, to make sure that we are developing those programs that are needed where we have demand. So we want to make sure that we are filling the labor market demands, that we are working together. So we are not an institution that operates in isolation. We work together. We really want to make sure that we are part of the fabric of the DNA of the Austin community.
And you do have a large Hispanic population, a lot of first-generation college students.
Yes.
So when we look to those people coming through a quality institution like yours and then going into the community, what is it that the community needs to realize of why some of these, Hispanic first-generation college students are the exact right people that they need to hire?
They are certainly our future, right? If we look at the state of Texas, the largest demographic group is the Hispanic community, 41% across the state of Texas. Austin is a very much forward-looking community with great creativity and progressive in many ways, but not necessarily within the tech ecosystem. So if we look at the tech ecosystem here in Austin, and despite the fact that 41% of the community here in Texas, Hispanic, only 16% are part of this tech ecosystem. And in particular, when we look at the Latinas, which is the largest population that we have at St. Edward's, only 2% in Austin. We cannot call ourselves a progressive city when we have 2% of the tech ecosystem in Austin with Latinas. We have them. They are with us, and they want to be part of that. And to really elevate these tech companies and all the ecosystem that we have here, we need to have that representation because they are representing the future investors, the future founders, the future entrepreneurs, the future customers. So they need to be part of that fabric. So my goal is to really facilitate that we gain a better appreciation why it's in the best interest of the community that we really are starting the process of recruiting these individuals that represent the future. So there's a lot of work to do, and the numbers, again, as a numbers person, are telling us that we are not quite there. And a lot of the recruitment that I see of the individuals that we are giving that education to elevate them, they're also recruited for a lot of the great opportunities, but primarily low skill type of positions in manufacturing and other areas where we have a need. But the challenge is that we are targeting those communities, for the most part, the Hispanic community, that we are trying to elevate with an education. And what I'm asking the city of Austin is to embrace that, because we have been moving really in the opposite direction. Over the last decade, the Hispanic representation in Austin has decreased from 36% to 31%, and there is a lot of displacement. So it's a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities, but there is also a lot of work to do.
So what can a technology executive who participates maybe in the Austin Technology Council, they want their company to be progressive, they want to help be part of the solution to all the problems that we face in Austin, what can they do to be able to hire some of these, Hispanic and Latina graduates that you have? How can they find them?
They are here, and every day downtown meeting with those amazing leaders of our tech companies to partner with them. One of the main things that I'm promoting is prior to the employment, let's facilitate also the training and the mentorship. So I'm highlighting internships as the bridge to really have access to that workforce because we can train them together. So one of the things that I'm doing, again, is creating partnerships where we are still mentoring the students, but our partners in the tech world, they are also mentoring them. And we are even adapting the curriculum to the needs that they have. So one of the first things that I would do, work with me on facilitating an internship program for these amazing students that are our future, and they are from this community. They want to stay here. They are loyal. They don't take things for granted. They want to work hard. But for employment, just come to us. We have them. And they will be so excited to be part of the community. But I also want to ask for the opportunity to really inspire these students, to mentor them, to help them to believe in themselves. It's hard for them when they get into that environment and they don't see themselves there. So it makes it a little bit harder for them to really believe that that's where they belong. So if we have more engagement, I would love to have all those, leaders, members of our amazing tech ecosystem here on our campus, celebrating the opportunities to work together or for us to be in the community, just creating that type of collaboration that it would be of mutual benefit.
Well, as you said earlier when we were talking about St. Ed's, is a 138-year history, and Austin is a better place because St. Edward's is here. And I hope that the tech community is listening and can work closer with you this year, next year, and on into the future. So let's look to the future. You moved to Austin 2 years ago, and of course we were in the middle of the pandemic. There was all kinds of things going along. But in the last 5 to 7 years, the overall community of Austin, and certainly the tech community, has gone through this huge metamorphosis. Something in the last 10 years, something like close to 1 million people have come to Austin. And that's a lot of people to be able to absorb. So what did you find when you got here? What was sort of the state of the Austin that you moved into 2 years ago, and where do you think we are now?
Unquestionably, things continue to evolve, right? We all see the skyline continue to expand here in Austin. I did come in the middle of the pandemic, so it was a very difficult time for all of us. But what I do remember from day one is that Austin is a very welcoming community. From day one, I felt at home. And I never felt that way anywhere else in this country. Again, I'm a first-generation immigrant. There is some level of authenticity here. You can be who you are. When I arrived here, nobody was asking me where I was from, which is always the first question. And it always makes it difficult when, regardless how much time you spend in a place, the question is, where are you from? You're not from here. I never got that question here. People would ask me why you are here. Exactly. That's
because most of us aren't from here. So we know you're from somewhere.
But it's different. People want to make a difference. So that level of authenticity, of desire to make a difference, the desire for social impact is very, very real here. And to me, that's the key for success for the future of this community. So some of the opportunities that I see is to continue making sure that we don't lose track of what the city of Austin stands for, right? A community devoted to each other with a commitment to social impact, with a community to celebrate the diversity of backgrounds and experiences that we bring here. But what we need right now is a clear vision and the type of leader with purpose. And the first thing that I did when I arrived to this amazing community at St. Ed's was to really clearly articulate the value of what we do and set a set of common goals and a shared vision and purpose. and we have worked every day very hard to get there because our St. Ed's community is embracing that. I think that that's what Austin needs, a little bit more of a clear sense of purpose. I think that we share values, but we just need to go back to it. The rapid economic growth is happening at a very high speed. So in a way, we are not reflecting enough on where is that we are going. So that's what I would like to see, for the leaders of the community to come together and to ensure that we are leading with a clear sense of purpose.
Well, I think you bring up a really interesting point, and I say this all the time, is that sometimes, we boomed so much in the last decade and so many people moved here that we forget from where we came as a tech community. If we go back 30 years, there was a vision that was both shared and individual amongst some community, civic, and business leaders, people like George Kosmetsky, people like Carol Thompson, Pike Powers. The list is very long of people who really looked towards what could Austin be. And I've lived here 32 years. What I remember from those days 20 and 30 years ago was Austin had a vision that we didn't want to be just like the Silicon Valley, but we wanted to offer a place for companies to be able to start or move and grow and thrive. And we wanted to have a community where people, wherever they came from, felt like they were welcomed in and that they could do this. And I'm not saying we don't have that same vision now, but I sort of agree with you that it's all happened so fast that one of the things that the Austin Technology Community Council is trying to do with the community is look for who are those next generation civically minded leaders who don't bring their personal agenda to what they look towards for where do we go over the next decade. So as a problem solver and as someone in a major role here in this community leading one of our major universities, how do you think we can go to bring people together and create a vision where we don't always have to agree, but at least we have a wide highway headed one direction? How do we get there?
Coming together, I think that the first thing is that we bring diversity of backgrounds, experiences, ideas, walks of life to the table from our own community, which is what is not happening. When I'm saying that only 2% of Latinos are in the tech ecosystem and certainly not in the leadership roles, we're missing that, for instance. So it is key that one of the directions that we need to go is going back to what Austin stands for. And the way I describe Austin is the Silicon Valley with a compassionate heart. So we don't want to lose track of that because we are here for each other. So for that, we really need to come to the table together. So a little bit more of an effort to really come to the table with intentionality. And I think a great exercise would be to really, what is that we are trying to achieve? It's not that hard to maybe get some of the leaders at the table and to look around and say, well, are we missing someone at this table? That would be step number one. And then start saying a path of how to get there. What is the type of impact that we want to have? Reflect on the fact that the very rapid economic growth has not benefited all the same. And there are some communities that have been left behind and they continue to be left behind. And I feel like I'm in a privileged position because I know education, working as part of the tech ecosystem is what can really help us to elevate those communities and to make sure that they are at the table.
God, you bring up so many great points, and that is, I'm a big believer that more conversations, more tables, more seats at the table, and looking around and realizing who's not here. Sometimes we get very curated in a lot of events that we do, and people have private events, and they only invite CFOs or they only invite CEOs, but that becomes an ivory tower. That becomes a bubble. And so there's a time and a place for curated events, but there's also a time and a place for a broader lane, a broader table that can be there. So I love that. I also love what you said about, being a technology hub that has a compassionate heart. I spend a lot of time talking with the leaders of technology councils in other cities. The Austin Technology Council belongs to a group called TECNA, which is a North American conglomeration, association, if you will, of technology councils. And there's a lot of communities who want what we've created over the past 20 and 30 years. And they are working very hard and bringing their communities together. Instead of being siloed, they're bringing people together. I call it, we need to have a one Austin idea, that we need to work together. Even if we don't always agree, we need to be working together towards that. And I love what you just said about remembering that we are a place with a compassionate heart. And if we can continue to lead Austin as this place with this compassionate heart and this drive for technology and for innovation, I think we're going to do really well. So what do you think is the future of our Austin Tech community?
I would like to see this community, and we have the great potential as being a leading community in the context of our commitment to social impact for the tech community, but be much more integrating within the arts with what is part of the fabric of this community that is here. So trying to avoid, again, some of the displacement that is happening. Let's act now. Let's bring in, because the tech world will be much better, and it will be special here because it's not happening in other places. So I see that future, that integration. Let's make sure that tech is not just tech, that is part of the fabric of everything that Austin represents and believes. So a different type of perspective, again, not losing the heart of the community. And I'm so optimistic about the future because every time that I interact with any of the CEOs or part of the community, they always care what is that we can do, how we can help, how we can advance. That's really the way that the community wants to advance, which you don't tend to see anywhere else. So I see a great future for us. And as long as we act now and we understand that we are going to be better when we come all together with a shared commitment to bring the community together, to elevate the community, and to reflect on the rapid growth that is not only about economic growth, that we think about the growth, the development, the benefit of the community that we have the privilege of serving here.
So Montse, I've loved this conversation. You bring so much to the table. I am so glad that you came and joined our community 2 years ago. And I appreciate St. Edward's for their support of the Austin Technology Council. Before I let you go, I ask every guest, my personal belief is that more community, collaboration, and conversations can solve all problems. Which one of those words, community, collaboration, conversations, resonates the most with you, and why?
Community. A community that is sharing a common space, a community with members that are lifting each other up, a community that celebrates the diversity of backgrounds, of experiences, of ideas, but also is leveraging the difference in the strengths that we bring. So we can create that better Austin, that we are together as that united force, that rising tide that lifts all the boats.
Nice. I love that. Final question. You've lived here 2 years. You now can answer this question. If somebody came to visit you from out of town, maybe somebody you worked with in North Carolina or someone who you grew up with back at home, if they came to Austin, what's the one place, either maybe a restaurant or an attraction, what's the one place you would want to make sure that they visited in Austin?
I will bring them to South Congress, to the hilltop, because we are able to overlook this amazing, beautiful city of Austin. And I will have them sitting by my side by our amazing oak. We named the oak Soaring Oak. And this oak was able to win the popularity contest here in Austin. It's actually the best tree of the year. It is a beautiful place because it's inspiring, it's special, it's magical. You see the students walking by and you see the city of Austin. And as you look at the students, you see, here it is. This is the future as you're overlooking this amazing city of Austin. So Soaring Oak, a very special place in Austin. I would invite the entire community to please come and join me.
Well, as soon as the temperature gets a little more forgiving than 107 degrees, I will come out and check out the Serene Oak and check out the rest of the university, because the Hilltop is a beautiful place. That is for sure.
It is. And I do want the community to come here to celebrate this beautiful space, but also our beautiful people here.
Nice. Well, Montse Fuentes, thank you so much for being here on Austin Tech Connect. Any final words?
Well, I want to say thank you to you, Tom. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing us together. I'm really excited about the great potential that we have in Austin. Please, Austin, come and join us. We want to work together on helping the communities, again, that we have the privilege of serving, to elevating and to really work together on ensuring that Austin continues to be the very, very special place that it is.
Nice. Well, this was a fantastic conversation. Thank you for being a guest here on Austin Tech Connect. And thank you to everybody who listened to this episode. You know what? If it wasn't for the audience, why would we do the podcast? Make sure you're telling all your friends in technology every single week. They should be listening to the interviews on Austin Tech Connect. And I'll ask you this question. Is your company a member of the Austin Technology Council? If not, why not? Now is the time to step up and support us in our cause. We would love to have you add your voice to the tech community as we look to the future. Join the Austin Technology Council today.
Thanks for listening to the Austin Tech Connect podcast. Make sure your company is a member of the Austin Technology Council and add your voice to the future of our tech ecosystem in Central Texas.